Okay, hello. Hi, everybody. We are back with do's and don'ts for spirit communication, a very important topic. And I've got 9 tips for you, right? 9. And you're going to want to stay put for the final ninth one. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so spirit communication is not rocket science. It's not as difficult as you may have been led to believe. Please don't think that this is some special gift that you have to develop. It really comes down to what you believe. If you believe you can do this, guess what? You can do this. If you believe it's impossible, then it will be impossible. So let's get that straight first. And now I realize, hey, I should have made that as my first, do and don't, right? But that that being said, let's just get going here because I want to cover everything and give you all that I know and have learned so far because I'm still understanding this journey that I've begun with Alan when he passed away at this point, almost going on 4 years this year. So let's just jump into this topic. Okay. And this is not necessarily in any order from, more important to less or least important to most. It's just what came to me, what spirit told me to talk to you about, because really that's what I do when in my work and my teaching is bring through what the other side wants me to say. So number one, I think everybody should begin their journey by learning about the afterlife. And this is both a challenge and a positive thing because the thing is there's so much information about the afterlife right now. And my concern is that with the opening up of AI, artificial intelligence, it becomes even more critical that we be discerning about what content we consume, whether we're watching YouTube videos or reading books. There's so much information. I think that is actually the greatest challenge because if you go out there and start diving into everything and reading everything and watching everybody's YouTube videos, I know you're gonna become thoroughly confused because you're gonna hear so many different perspectives, so many different people telling you, "Do this, do that," or "This is the truth," or "This is what the other side is like," and even in the books that are written about the subject, it can be very confusing, a little overwhelming. So one thing to keep in mind is that no single author, no single teacher has necessarily the 100% accurate truth. They're giving it to you based on their experience or their research, their understanding. And so you can't expect one person to have it all, have the complete story. I won't even tell you that I have the complete story that we do, right? Because I'm getting my information from the other side and from Alan, who's in spirit, who's communicating through me. But I never want anybody to think that we're the final say. Okay. You have the ability to sift through whatever information you are looking at or hearing or reading and determining if that resonates for you. Okay, so if it does, then great, then go forward, go explore it more, because that's the best indicator of whether that truth, that idea, that perspective is your truth. Okay, so we really want to activate that in you more than anything, that you trust yourself because unless and until you do trust yourself, you're going to flounder a bit. It's going to be difficult for you because you won't know which way to turn. If it doesn't feel right, then that means it isn't right. It doesn't mean that that person's perspective or their information is false. It just means it doesn't fit you, at least not right now. So that to me is the critical thing that it that test that it has to pass. Does it feel right to you? Right. And it might resonate with you later. So don't totally give up on it. Just when you do consume content, put that filter in place, your own filter of truth. Okay, that's all really that matters at the end of the day. Okay, now going on to number 2. Please, please do trust whatever you experience, even if you don't understand what it is. So, if something happens, something appears, you have some sort of experience, you don't know what that's about, where that's coming from, who's connecting with you, because it could be a guide, it could be your loved one. It is going to be something benevolent because that's how the universe is constructed. Okay. And so what can help is if you keep a journal where you at least write down, maybe in a notepad or on your phone, the note thing on your phone, just write down what happened. Chronicle your journey. Write down what's happened to you so that you have a record of it that you can refer to. Don't necessarily expect other people to believe what you experience. They might, and that's great. That's wonderful bonus if they do. But it's not important what anyone else thinks. It's only matters what you believe to be true if you want to explore this. Because the truth is, what we're dealing with here is something that most people are going to roll their eyes at, or even maybe make fun of, or put you down for, or tell you you're crazy, you're imagining it. So in the beginning, especially when you're just starting out in this journey and you're exploring it, you're going to be rather fragile in your attitude, in your belief, because a lot of this is going to literally shake up your mindset and your belief system. There's no way around it. We're dealing with the non-physical world, which by definition, since it's not physical, we can't point to it, we can't measure it, we can't quantify it. So you're going to have to go on trust and faith. And that's critical because when we do have that trust and faith, then we're giving the other side more leverage, because that's what they need. They need us to believe in that so that we can then open the door to experience that direct communication and direct contact that we want. Okay, so remember, everyone's creating their own reality based on their belief system, whatever that is. And so your belief system has to align with what you want. If you want direct communication and direct contact, you have to first believe that it's possible, and that will open the door. You're believing that it's impossible just keeps the door closed. Okay. And doubts also will close the door, or at least pinch off your connection to the other side. So your belief, your attitude, your assumption of what's real and what's true sets the tone for everything. And that's true in every aspect of your life. And it's more true in this case because we're dealing with something intangible, and you're up against the collective consciousness belief that pretty much says you can't trust what you can't see. That belief is out there. And we're stepping into a world where we can't again measure it. We can't hold it in our hand. We can't touch it. So that doesn't mean it's not real. It just means we have to find another way, another avenue to gain that evidence that we seek. And that's why we believe that direct communication, having direct contact with them, is the way for you and I to personally get our own evidence. Because in the end, it doesn't matter what other people say, what their stories are of what they experienced. It sounds all well and good, but until you and I have our own undeniable experience, and trust me, that experience doesn't have to be something like phenomenal. Okay, it's not like they have to appear physical. And by the way, some spirits can appear physically, and never rule out that possibility. It is possible, but that is unlikely, at least for most of us, especially in the early days. But anything's possible. Okay. But it doesn't have to be something so extraordinary for it to be proof to us. Okay. I am working with people who get evidence of their loved ones with them, like some of them all day, or certainly very often. And it isn't required that happened to you for you to feel their presence, feel their love, feel comforted, because I do also have clients who have a more subtle connection of that sort, where they just feel their presence. And my own connection with my husband, Alan, isn't that dramatic. I know I have clients and students who have much more dramatic contact than I do. And yet I feel this constant presence, this constant love, I don't even know how to explain it anymore because it's so much part of my life is interwoven into everything that I do that it's hard to imagine living any other way. Okay. But that is my experience. And your experience might be different because you're unique and your loved one in spirit is unique. Their ability to come through to you, to connect with you is going to be different and unique. And that's why you need to explore this in your own way and be patient. Okay. And they need to learn too. So we have to have patience with them also. Do ask them for signs. I know many people do, and you probably have too. Please give me a sign. And maybe you've received them and maybe you haven't. Sometimes it could take a while for someone in the spirit world to come through with a sign. Sometimes your grief is blocking them from connecting. That can be a big barrier for some of you, not everyone. In some cases, the loved one on the other side, their energy is so strong that they can override the grief. But usually it's an issue. Usually it's a challenge for them. And so it takes time in some cases for them to come through to give us a sign. And to be honest, sometimes we in the early days you could be in such grief that you're oblivious. You might not be even noticing what it is, or it could be very subtle because spirit communication is generally speaking often quite subtle and therefore you can miss it. So it could be a sensation you get, a tingling. Tingles are a really common way for them to communicate. Tingles, chills, and you might just shrug it off and go, "Oh, well, it's cold today, so of course, I feel chilled." But if that comes out of nowhere and you were feeling one way one minute and the next minute you feel these tingles, you need to start looking at the very real possibility and likelihood that that's someone in the spirit world trying to get your attention. Generally speaking, usually that's not your guides. Although that can happen, that's not usually a guide in my experience. It's quite often a loved one, if that's who you're wanting to connect with. Okay. They usually, and again, there's always exceptions, usually they kind of jump to the head of the line, the front of the line in wanting to connect with you. And your guides will kind of back off a bit. I'm not saying your guides are not going to stay with you because they do, they don't go anywhere, but they will support your loved one to come through because they know that that's what you want, right? If it's not what you want, if you're not looking for it, might be a different story, okay? But if this is what you seek, then yes, your guides are going to support your loved one on the other side to make contact. So what you need to do if you're looking for signs is to just be patient. You can request a specific sign like I'd like to see have a feather or clouds or coins. I have a friend who gets pennies from heaven from her daughter on the other side on a regular basis. I think at this point she probably has a big jar of pennies that have appeared in her home. Okay. But at the same time, in when we talk about signs, understand that for some of our loved ones on the other side, they want to go beyond signs. So if the signs kind of drop off, you don't get as many, it might mean that they want you to find another way to connect with them. And they don't want you to just be limited to looking at signs. Okay, so just understand that the way that they communicate can change over time. You are going to be growing through this journey if you really embrace it. If you're just dipping your toe into it and you're not completely serious about it, then who knows? You know, that communication could really trail off, because why would they put a lot of effort into this if we're not really open to it and we're not focused on it and we're not looking for the signs? They're not going to. It's not because they don't care or want to, it's just that there's no point. So the more you acknowledge what signs you're getting, and what I teach in our academy with our students is I tell them to just believe that, for a time at least, that everything that they're experiencing is a sign, because I know that that's a way for us to give them greater leverage to come through and give us those signs, because we're looking for them, we're actively looking for them, we're believing them, we're open to them. And so that creates a sort of an energy vortex for them to tap into. Whereas if we're very skeptical, we're not sure, we're doubting, that sort of pinches off our connection. So that's the key. That's manifestation, really, in a nutshell. You know, what you believe is what you're going to manifest at some point. You believe it strongly enough, you affirm it, you're confident about it, then you're letting the other side know that you're ready and willing and able, and they can take advantage of that. Okay, so we have to be all in on this. So definitely, if you get a sign, claim it. Like, claim it. You want more signs? Claim the ones you're getting. That's really it. And who cares what other people think? You don't have to tell other people about the signs you're getting. Okay, you doesn't matter. All that matters is what you believe, what you want. Don't judge this experience by other people. Don't let other people like affect you. You're in this for you. Okay, that's true for anything we do in life. It's not about what other people believe. Don't let yourself be influenced negatively by what other people tell you. Okay. Trust your own inner guidance, your own instincts, your own source, God, creator part of you that you are, because we all are. We all have that ability to know what's right for us. This is the time that you need to claim that. Really claim it if you have never done that before, because if you don't do that, you won't be able to do this journey. You have to lay claim to your power and your own inner knowing. Okay, that's probably the number one thing to take away from this, and I haven't gotten to the number 9 do's and don'ts, but that one will take you further than anything. Number 4, now this might sound obvious, but we need to make peace with the fact that they've passed. And the reason I say this is because depending upon how they exited, how they left this world, whether it was through disease, illness, maybe they took their life. Even with a disease, I've known people who lost a loved one who wasn't taking care of themselves like they should have, and they could have healed themselves if they had gotten to a doctor sooner, things like that. It's easy to go into blame and be angry that why didn't you go to the doctor when I told you to so many times, and this is what happened. You know, they lost their life, or maybe the loved one took their life. Just know that, especially when it comes to suicide, anyone who takes their life, unless, this is exception, unless they were in extreme pain, like physical unrelenting pain, that they felt there was no other way out but to take their life. If under other circumstances, you know, if when somebody takes their life, they're distraught. They're not in their right mind. They are distorted. Okay, they're in emotional pain if they were not in physical pain and suffering, right? So you could literally say that they were not in their right mind when they did that. Okay, because when a spirit crosses over and has taken their life, they immediately have regret. They immediately realize that they made a mistake. Okay, again, unless that person was physically suffering, and that was the path to healing, was for them to exit. That's why euthanasia is actually a very is something benevolent to consider. Okay, it's never judged whether somebody takes their life by their own hand or not, or they under any circumstances. There's no judgment in the spirit world. But if your loved one took their life and therefore left you in a situation that's dire, that now the circumstances of your life are really hard, and understandably you're angry. Of course you're angry. However, if this is just if you want to have the communication and contact, you have to reach a point of forgiving them or yourself. If somehow maybe you blame yourself that I should have done something, or it was my fault that they passed, etc. If you can't forgive, then there will be no communication. You will forgive once you cross over, because you will see the bigger picture of why everything happened the way it happened, why they did what they did or didn't do what they didn't do, and you will make peace with it. You will. You absolutely will when you get to the other side. So the question only becomes, are you going to do that now while you are still here? And again, the only reason to do it, well, this is not the only reason, but the main reason to do it is if you want to have that communication through the veil, and if you want to let go of your suffering. Because when we hold resentment and anger toward anyone or anything, we're basically lowering our vibration, and we are not going to be able really to be happy in our life. Anger and resentment, unforgiveness hurts us. It doesn't really hurt them. I'm not saying that they're not affected, that they don't feel remorse. They do. Trust me. They feel guilt and remorse on the other side. And they can't wait for you to forgive them for your sake more than theirs, because they know that the resentment you're hanging on to is distorting you and preventing you from living the life that you came here to live. So again, the question is, are you going to forgive and move forward? Not forgive and forget, okay, but forgive so that you can free yourself, so that you can live the life you're here to live. And if you want to, communicate with them through the veil, okay? Anger and resentment are such heavy, dense emotions that it's going to block, it's going to create a wall. That's what it is. And all you have right now is the present moment. Right now, the past is gone. They're physically not here. That's not going to change. So we have to make peace that they're not physically here to step forward with, if we want to connect with them, because that's all we have right now is here and now. They're here, but not in a body. They're a consciousness. They're a mind. That means we can communicate mind to mind, heart to heart, soul to soul. But we're just not going to have them physically with us. And I know that's a huge adjustment, because, of course, you miss them physically. Your body misses their body. It will be like that for the remainder of your life in a body. However, the grieving of your physical loss can lessen, but it has to be replaced by the spiritual connection. Okay, the mind to mind, heart to heart, soul to soul connection. That's a whole different journey. It can be an extraordinary journey that is life altering, that's going to expand you and enrich you, but it's different. And if you keep grieving the physical loss and are focused on physical, 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 you won't get there. That's just the truth of it, because you keep beating that drum of I don't have them physically, I don't have them physically, I want them physically. You've got to accept they're not physically here. They're spiritually present. Their energy is present. You can communicate with them. You won't be able to, though, if you're not happy about that fact that all you have is the spirit communication. You have to embrace that and say, I'm grateful to have that connection, that communication. I bless it. I celebrate it. I'm so happy I have that. If you can't beat that drum, you're not going to go very far. So you got to make peace if you want to connect with them in the now, because focusing on the past, guess what? Keeps you stuck in the past, and they're not there. You're the one there, upset that they're not there when they're here right now. So when you're ready, and it can take time for you to process your anger and resentment, I hear you. I had to go through that myself. I was yelling at Alan for like 2 straight days, literally cursing him, walking around in my house cursing him because I was pissed at him for what he didn't really do for me in our marriage. But I got through that. I let myself vent it. I went through it. He took it. He said, I know you're upset. You need to scream. You need to yell. You need to do whatever. But I moved on because I wanted to connect with him. So I forgave the past, let it go, forgave him, moved on. I'm never going to forget it. It's not about forgetting. It's about forgiving. And it's about being free again, because I wanted to live and I wanted to be happy and I wanted to be with him again. There's no other way through this, okay, but to forgive. You've got to forgive if you want contact. If you don't want contact, fine. Then be upset. You can be upset for the rest of your days. It's not going to change anything. And you're not going to find peace unless you find the way to forgive and move on. Number 5, do process your grief. By process, we mean feel your feelings. Therefore, do not suppress your emotions, your feelings. You need to feel whatever you feel. You need to give yourself free rein to do that. I know that can be challenging. This journey through the veil requires us to be emotionally open. I mean, to feel everything. I myself was rather shut down when Alan passed because of how our relationship had deteriorated and how for the final few years of his life, he had dementia. So I didn't really have connection with him. He couldn't really communicate to the degree that he did before. And so in order to cope, I had shut down emotionally. So the first thing I needed to do after forgiving him was to open up emotionally. And that took time. That probably took me a good year, maybe a bit longer. And everybody's time frame is going to be different, unique to you. But what I know now is that until I really opened up emotionally, I couldn't feel him to the degree I can feel him now. And I still keep opening up more. He says there's no limit to how much you can grow and evolve, or even how much you can feel. So that's important. Just give yourself time to grieve. And yet at the same time, please do your best to not wallow in that. Grief comes from your thinking. Really, it's from your thoughts. Your thoughts that they're lost to you. Of course, that's going to tear you apart because that's not true. And that's why that thought feels so horrible. The more false the thought is that you think, the more you feel yourself being torn apart, because it's an indication that that thought you're thinking is not true. So if you keep thinking that they're lost to you, yes, that's not true. And that's why it feels so terrible. If you start thinking the thought that, oh, I can communicate with them, I can feel their love, that feels a little bit better because those thoughts are true. So you want to be aware of where your thoughts are going and rein them in as best you can. because thoughts create a feeling response. That's just how it is. And the feeling response that that thought generated will then manifest in your life. You know, you keep thinking the thought that you can't connect with them, that's what you're going to create. If you keep thinking the thought that you can communicate, that you can connect, that you can have this relationship through the veil, that will manifest. It has to, because that's the power of your thoughts. All thought creates reality. It's creating it right now. You're creating it in this very moment. You cannot not manifest what you're thinking about. You've already done it. So you can look at your life and see what's going on and realize, oh, I created all of this. So if you want to change, just change your thoughts. Let's move on to number 6. Do use your imagination. In our academy, I talk about this constantly, that imagination is your superpower. It's how anything manifests, is through the mind. So if you want that communication and contact, imagine your way to it. When you imagine your loved one with you, what you're doing is you're not manufacturing it. It's not make believe. It is real. What you're doing is opening the door to the other side and saying, "Hey, I want you to come to me. I'm imagining that you're sitting here, maybe at the dinner table, and we're talking." That you're inviting them in, and they're going to meet you in that space, okay, in your mind, because they can. Okay. So when you start doing that on a regular basis, they come in. You're giving them your energy, your dense earth energy, right? To come in, lower their vibration a bit, come in, make contact because you believe and you trust and you're imagining it. It makes it easier for them to come through to us when we do that. However, the 3D world, the physical world is so distracting. I know it's challenging for a lot of you to make time to do that, but that's the key. Meditation will help because meditation, again, is a form of using your mind, visualizing, or going on a journey, letting spirit take you on a journey. Here is how simple it is. If you can get into a relaxed state somehow, somewhere, you find a way to get really relaxed. I mean, really relaxed. And you just call out to spirit, whether it's a guide, whether it's your loved one, it doesn't matter who it is in non-physical. Call out to them and imagine that they're there. And that Alan's saying to me, get the ball rolling, prime the pump. Imagine they're talking to you. Imagine what they would say. What you will find if you practice this long enough, often enough, is they start to take over. They come in because we've invited them and we're talking. They come in and they start communicating to a degree and to the point where we go, well, I know I'm not making that up. I didn't even know where that conversation was going. Or they tell us something that we don't know, or say something that we would never say to ourselves. But it takes time to develop that. Your imagination is critical to this. Imagination is not unreal. Nothing unreal exists. That's the definition of unreal. If it's not real, then it's not real and it's not here. So when you imagine something, you're imagining something that absolutely exists. Okay. And you're basically laying claim to it and saying, this is what I want. I want experience that I'm having dinner with my husband and he's sitting here talking to me and I'm going to imagine what he's saying to me. And pretty soon you're just off to the races. He's just like starting to talk to you and you go, oh my God, this is really amazing. I can feel his presence. I hear the conversation. Okay. So it's all up to you. You've got the power to do this, but it comes down to your belief system. It comes down to you diving in, opening up, and believing this is possible and then imagining it, and then you will prove it to yourself. Nobody else can prove it to you but you. Not even the most gifted medium can give you the proof that you can generate for yourself. Okay? You have the power. And Alan's laughing, he's saying, "You're already getting to the number the number 9 the number 9 do and don't." So, let's move on here. But just remember, your imagination is critical here, and don't ever underestimate the power that you have. Number 7, do talk to them. It goes along with the imagination, rant that I just went on with you. Do talk to them in your mind or out loud, because they can't hear you. Absolutely. Spirit hears you. If you only knew how much they're aware of you, you would probably be a little freaked out. Don't worry, they respect your privacy. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about how the spirit world is very much engaged with the physical world. It's always been that way, it will never change. So don't doubt what you hear in return if when you do talk, whether it's in your mind or out loud. Okay, because both of you are learning to communicate. How are you going to learn to communicate if you don't practice? They have to practice as much as you do. They don't know on their side if what they're doing is going to land, is going to reach you, or if the way they're expressing themselves is going to be audible to you. Okay, when we talk about hearing them, it's not like an outside voice. Now, for some people, it could be, because I've worked with people who say, "Yeah, I've heard my loved one out here." Usually that's not the case. Usually it's an internal conversation. And yet, you're not saying the words that are coming through. I've had spirit talk to me, and I know that it's just not me, because it's like, where is this conversation coming from when I'm not running the conversation? So here's how you can prove that to yourself. I want you to deliberately take a moment and have a conversation with yourself on purpose, where you're fashioning a dialogue, but you don't know what the dialogue is, okay? But you're saying, "All right, I'm gonna talk to myself about something." Pretend you're doing that. And then notice that when you do have communication coming in, it feels different. It comes out of nowhere a lot of times. Or you might ask a question, and then all of a sudden a knowing or the message or the sign or symbol comes through. That's your answer from the other side. Who is communicating with you is something that you have to takes time to figure that out, but you can learn to tell the difference. But in the beginning, all we're looking for is that we can tell that this is not us, that this is the other side. Your conscious logical mind, or what I call your physical mind, doesn't usually just chatter away. It doesn't because it doesn't see the need for that. It just doesn't. It's not created to do that. And your imagination doesn't just ramble on and on and on, unless you're the kind of person who's always talked to themselves, then you would know that about yourself. But most of you don't do that. I know I certainly don't. Okay, so remember, spirit communication can be subtle. The message can just pop in. The communication can pop in. It could be a word, it could be a phrase, it could be anything, it could be a whole long conversation. But when it just comes in out of the blue, that is not you. Your physical mind is always, almost without exception, going to say, "Oh, you're making it up." It sees its job as to warn you when about something that it does not understand, right? Your physical mind was created for survival, okay, to protect you. So when it perceives something that you're doing or experiencing that it does not understand, because it wasn't programmed with that, and it certainly doesn't understand the spirit realm because it's of the physical realm. So it's going to just throw up a red flag, a feeling of doubt, maybe even thoughts of doubt. That's its job, people. And we have to learn to ignore that. There's no other way around it. You can never expect your logical physical mind to be on board fully with spirit communication. The best we can hope for is it just gets a little quieter. It just kind of steps aside and indulges us, let's say, because it says, I don't know what she's doing, but okay, she seems to be all right, and she's not freaking out, she's not upset. Okay, I'll calm down. Your physical mind is just trying to protect you based on the knowledge that it was given. Okay, beliefs that you accepted from other people, your parents, society, your friends. So based on your belief system, it's either going to, accept this a little bit easier, or it's going to really freak out because it depends how this journey either, conflicts or goes along with your own belief system and your own fears, your own issues, etc. Okay, so do talk to them though if that's what you want. You want the communication. This journey is not a passive one. This journey is not about us sitting back and going, okay, I'm waiting for communication and contact to happen. No, physical life is about taking physical action. It's not ever meant to be simply an internal experience. Even this relationship that is non physical can be and is physical. Okay, not like this, not like a physical body physical, but physical in the form of heat, of tingles, of other sensations, of pressure on the body, of seeing something fleetingly. That's your clairvoyance opening up. Okay, that's them trying to project through the veil. So it can be something that you experience in this 3D reality, and it's not just in your mind, although it can also be in your mind. Okay, it can be all of that. But you've got to practice because they have to practice. So why should they practice if we're not open and we're not paying attention and we're not trying? Okay. They'll just patiently wait. They won't necessarily go away because they don't have to, and there's nowhere to go anyway. Everything's right here. But it's up to us. We have to meet them halfway. It's not all on them. This is a co-creative journey, a co-creative relationship, as all relationships are. So it's up to us to do our part. Number 8. Now, do connect with others seeking to continue their own relationship through the veil, if you haven't already done so, because only those people who share your interest and are on their own journey are going to really understand what you're going through and be able to support you. But don't be discouraged by conventional grief groups that you join, or even if you go into grief therapy, because it's of limiting benefit. And the grief groups, especially on Facebook, can actually, for many of you, and I've heard from many of you tell me privately, or even in my academy talked about it, that grief groups can actually be very like depressing and even become toxic because all people are doing is crying about the loss of their loved one, and there's no hope in those groups. The even grief therapy, as several of you have told me personally who've had therapy, have said, basically they're just telling you to accept it, accept the loss and move on. And what kind of therapy is that? It's like saying, okay, you've got severe pain from your arthritis. Just accept the pain and move on. You're not even offering you a solution for the arthritis, like how to heal it or how to, mitigate the pain or suffering. Right? They're just saying, well, you just have to endure it. To me, that's not really therapy. That's just managing. Managing the grief is not, to me, therapy. Therapy to me is transcending it, healing it, improving it. Uh, so maybe there isn't really any therapy for grief um, in the 3D world anyway. I think for me, the only real therapy is to break through the veil and have that connection. But of course, that requires you to believe in the afterlife, which takes us back to the first do and don't about, learn about the afterlife. So it comes down to, what where can you get the support you need? Where can you get the relief you need? And sadly, I don't think it's going to be in the conventional grief groups, whether it's in person groups or on Facebook or counseling. Um, yeah, that's just the challenge. Okay. But connecting with people who are going through the journey. That's why we created our academy, and we have close to 200 people in it that are supporting each other through that are sharing their story. It helps to hear other people's stories of how they're overcoming their grief or maybe made peace with their resentment and anger and so forth. So that helps. That will raise your vibration. That will bring you closer to your loved one on the other side, because now your energy, your vibration, your frequency is higher, because everything in the universe is about that. It's about vibration and frequency. If you're not a match or a close fit to them energetically, it's very difficult. Very difficult. I know people who actually can see their loved one clairvoyantly and talk to them and even feel them somewhat physically. Okay. Whoops. There goes my screen. That's Alan, like emphasizing that point. And what that means is, when they're not happy in spite of that connection, they haven't worked on their belief system and their own issues. Because even if you have this profound contact, if you haven't grown and evolved as a soul while you're here in a body, then you're missing out on what you came here for. So that's why, to me, this journey is also one of spiritual development, meaning like understanding who you are on a soul level, not just on a human level, because that's not really who you are. Your human ego personality is not really your essence. That's just a construct, a persona you've assumed to live in this lifetime. It's not who you will be when you cross over. Yes, you'll maintain some of your personality. Like Alan's maintained his sense of humor. He has a certain way about him that he's maintained, but on another level, he's different because he's this improved version of himself. So you will be too. So why not become that improved version of yourself right now before you do transition? That will actually help you connect through the veil, because now your vibration is higher because you have worked on yourself. Okay, which brings us to the final one. Actually, I have something else to say after this, so stick around. This is not my main point. So number 9, do understand that you are the best medium to connect with your loved one in spirit. Okay, you. I don't care who the medium is. I don't care if that medium is world famous and people pay them hundreds of dollars and they're amazing. I'm sure they are amazing. I'm not trying to put down any medium here. Just trying to say that when it comes to your own loved ones on the other side, that you are the one that they want to connect with. They don't really want to connect with that medium unless that's the only avenue for them. And if that's the way, then most of them will do their best to come through. But be aware that sometimes they don't want to come through that medium. They may not be comfortable with that medium. And not every medium is going to be accurate in their communication with them. And unfortunately, today, more than ever before, there are too many either fake or, let's just say, inept mediums. Like, they could be well meaning, but they're not really communicating with your loved one. They're reading their energy, okay? Because that can happen too. A psychic can read the energy or the aura of the person. They can read your energy. That's how a psychic can give you a reading. And that means they can give a reading of your loved one in spirit, because remember, they're not dead. They're just not in a body anymore. Okay. So they can be read in some ways more easily, because now they're in spirit. They're no longer have an ego. They're not necessarily blocking the psychic from reading them, which people in a body can do. And so the psychic could read the energy of your loved one on the other side. down to details about how they passed and how they were as a person. A lot of detail can be given about them without them actually talking directly to your loved one. Okay, that's a whole different thing. I am not saying that all mediums are frauds. Okay, please, let's get that straight. We're just saying that today, probably more than ever before on planet Earth, there are more fraudulent mediums that exist because this subject has become, so popular. Mediumship has grown to be probably more sought after and popular than just ordinary psychic readings. Okay, so a lot of psychics have turned or morphed into being mediums for that very reason. Okay, because mediumship has become just more known because of Netflix and Amazon Prime. Mediums have their own channels, documentaries on Netflix. That's all well and good. That's great. That's helping us understand that the afterlife is real and that life does go on. But unfortunately, because humans being who they are, some people are taking advantage of that. And that's why we're here to encourage you to find your own proof of the afterlife, to find your own evidence of your loved one's survival after death. Is it a good idea to have a mediumship reading? Yes, if you can find a medium who's legitimate, who's authentic, great. But please know this, even they can have their off days, even they can be wrong. They're still human after all. So please don't give all your power away to somebody else. Okay. And nobody, don't give your power away to anybody. Again, I don't care who the medium is. God bless them. They could be amazing. There are many amazing mediums out there. You are the best medium for your loved one in spirit because they want to talk to you directly. They want to stay in touch with you, not the medium. Okay. They want to prove to you that they're with you. But you've got to, again, meet them halfway. The people who don't want to go down this road that I'm on and that many others are now joining us on are probably just not ready to do that, to go all in, or maybe want this handed to them. This is not how it works, folks. This is a journey of transformation. If you want a relationship with someone through the veil that is truly fulfilling, okay, not just with the phenomenon, because again, I know people who have contact, undeniable contact, they know that's their loved one, and they're not happy in their life, and they're still depressed, and they're still struggling on many levels. Okay. To me, that's not the ultimate. You know, to me, what I want for you is to have it all, to have them in your life, connected with them, for you to know that that is them, for you to know that you're immortal, you don't die, they haven't died, for you to be fearless about life, and for you to transform and up level your consciousness so that you can be who you truly are in this life. Okay, that's a tall order. I grant you that. This is not for everybody. So if you're watching this right now and you're not sure, I get it. You're not sure this is real? I get it. You think this is crazy? I get it. Okay. But I've been in this field for now, this year, going on 37 years. I know this is a reality because I've seen so much. And you can too, if you just give it a try. Okay. But you got to be all in and you've got to look at your belief system. You've got to examine your own self, your own trauma, your own fears, your own issues, and clear those out. That's why this is not a straightforward journey. It's an incremental one. But to me, because I've lost my partner, the person that I know that I will return to when I cross over physically, I want to continue it because connecting with Alan has opened me up in a way that I never thought was possible. It has deepened my connection to all that is, to source, to others. It has brought me a depth of self-love and confidence and security in myself and in life also, to a degree that I never had before. And he said that I would have never had this if he hadn't crossed over. So I see the blessing in the tragedy. And I know now that death doesn't have to be the end. It can be the beginning of a new transformative experience with those that we love. So if you're ready for that, then dive in, talk to them, look for the signs, refuse to be discouraged, be stubborn about that. Really, be stubborn about being positive, about believing and trusting. I know it's hard in a world that is so cynical and full of fear and division, but you really only have two choices if you want communication and contact through the veil. You either have to go all in and believe and trust and throw doubt to the side, or you will just continue as you've been doing already, and feeling lost and feeling disconnected. There aren't any, halfways with this. In my experience, what I've seen with clients and students, okay, this takes time. It's an incremental journey. You can do it. You can do anything for that matter. Don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt them. Don't doubt the love that created you, the love that you will return to, the love that you always are and will eternally be. Trust this feeling inside of you if it's telling you that you want this and you can do this, okay? Because that voice, that part of you is true, is authentic, it's real. Don't listen to other people around you, the naysayers. What do they know? They only have their own limiting beliefs. Get your own proof. Get your own evidence. It cannot be found in books. The books will just prompt your thinking, right? It'll expand your awareness, but it's direct evidence, direct proof that's going to deliver that to you and that you can claim it and make it yours. Okay. So until next time, all I want to say is keep believing. And again, the closing thing is believe. Believe. Belief creates everything. So be sure your beliefs are in line with what you want to manifest. And if they're not, then get them in line. Do some belief adjustment here. Clear your limiting beliefs. All beliefs are true and all beliefs are false. That's the reality. What that means is it doesn't matter what you believe because all of it can manifest. So choose what you want to believe and take hold of your life and open the door to the spirit world. And if you want to, you can leave it open for the rest of your days and be supported, guided, and loved by the other side. That has been my experience so far, and I'm looking forward to how that deepens and expands in the days, weeks, months, and years to come. And I have never been so excited to be alive on the planet, even though my husband is on the other side, because I know that we're only going to see more miracles going forward. So I can't wait to see what unfolds. And I'm looking forward to see what unfolds for you too. So let us know in the comments. Share your story. And even if you don't have a miracle to share or a sign to share, read other people's stories and be inspired by that. That's how you will manifest them for yourself. So until next time, sending you lots of love and wishing you joy on your journey. Okay. I know it's hard if you've just lost someone and you're deep in grief, but there is love and light on the other side of this. There is, because love is the only reality. So really lean hard into that. Ask your loved one to come close to you. Feel their presence. Imagine it if you don't feel it yet. And then that will help them connect with you. So bye-bye till next time.